Hi everybody, it's Andrea, aka Violet Kitty 411, and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much to everybody who has been engaging, commenting, subscribing, liking. I do appreciate it. It makes this project so much more fun with an engaged audience, and I do try to respond to every comment. So we are finally in Belladonna Cove, the last neighborhood that ships with the game. Of course, it ships with Apartment Life. Apartment Life is not in my top 3, but I do absolutely love the pack. I do play Apartments an awful lot, and it does come with my favorite occult, which is actually the witches. Now, we are here in Belladonna Cove, and we've got 3 different groups of people. We've got people in houses, we've got people in apartments, and we've got 3 families in the family bin, the Goodies, the Gavigans, and the Newsons, whom we will be placing. Now I'm going to do the houses first because I want to put this out here to you as a question. When it comes to the apartments, would you like to see me redesign the entire lot or just the individual apartments that we have? This actually is the largest neighborhood that ships with the game, so there's a lot to happen here. So give me your feedback, and also regarding the bin families, if you have any specific house here in Belladonna Cove, either house or apartment, that you would like to see me put them in, let me know and I will do that. I've got basically 3 slots, otherwise we will be spinning for them as I have in the past. Plus I have a couple other projects that people have asked me to check out, so I'm definitely going to get that as well. Hello Daisy. So today's client is actually Carlos Contender. Carlos had a career that was the stuff of legends, but even more legendary were his romantic pursuits. Now that he's thinking about retirement, he's trying to focus on his niece Isabel and her family, but his romantic nature is still strong, and Belladonna Cove is filled with such interesting possibilities. Okay, so let's go check him out. Okay, so here's Carlos, and he's very active. His predestined hobby is indeed sports. Carlos thinks a lot about boxing days and what could have been, but there's nothing like a new romance to make him feel young again. Well, he's not actually best assigned, in my opinion, as a popularity sim. He's not badly assigned, and the story that was set up for him is clearly meant that if you do indeed have secondary aspirations, that you should probably choose romance as his secondary aspiration if you don't reassign him entirely. And that's always, of course, your decision. So let's look at this house. It is clearly meant to be very Mediterranean. A lot of the houses along this way are a little bit on the Mediterranean side. It does have a view of the water. The house, the roof line is pretty ugly. Now it does look like it could fit in Veronaville, so plus his name is Carlos, and so he could very easily fit in Veronaville. So we're going to keep things like that in mind about, that kind of Mediterranean feel when I redesign. But yeah, the house is ugly. It's functional, but it's ugly. So we're going to see what we can do. We do have the upper floor gym, and I've actually created a boxing ring like this before, but I actually put the boxing bag right up here in the boxing ring because that made much more sense. That way they could. Although if you want to create the idea that they are boxing, you could have them start boxing, have another person start boxing, and then using move objects on, have them look like they're boxing each other, which is kind of fun. Anyway, so as far as I can tell, the only thing I need to save is this. I am not a huge fan of this bed. I've never actually placed it, but I think I might very well do that for this particular build. We have a bathroom which is not oversized for the lot. We've got a kitchen with a good size eating space, so appropriately sized. But we can do so much more, so we're going to see what we can indeed do. And of course we do have a second bathroom up here so we can shower off afterwards. Hi Daisy. I know, very much so. I mean, you need to tell me more about that. Anyway, so as far as I can tell, that's the only thing I need to save for him is the punching bag. His lifetime want is to be a professional party guest, which is actually a romance aspiration. But yeah, let's just go ahead and get them evicted and then start doing our deconstruction. Okay, so of course one of the reasons this reminds me very much of Veronaville is the use of these arches before actually entering the house. You would enter the house through here, then go up to the second floor through here and into the main house through here. So, I mean, I don't hate it. I don't hate it, but I definitely am not in love. So we are going to get rid of the roof because I want to change that. And I'm definitely going to go ahead and add the garage. I had thought about shrinking the lot, but I'm going to keep the lot the same size and add the garage and work with stuff that way. So we're going to keep that in mind. I'm just going to go ahead and start stripping things, but let's go ahead and get rid of the roof because yeah, I can't live with that roof as it is. Yeah, so no adjustments to the lot itself, but I can't live with the roof as it is, so we'll get this figured out. Now, one thing that I hadn't realized before, but now I do know, is that you can't actually put a ceiling on the ceiling below a stage. I didn't know that. Now I know it. I actually figured it out in the redesign of creating the Pleasant View condos. But yeah, sad but true. Okay, so now that I have the tabula rasa that I would like, the first thing I'm going to do is start with the garage, simply because that makes sense. We're going to do the brick one. So we'll do this and then one extension, right like that. Had to get rid of the fence anyway. And I wasn't in love with that particular fence for this build. Not saying that I won't use it again, but I might not. So let's go ahead, and also we have to put, I'm going to extend this all the way back to here, as a matter of fact, right like that. Okay, and then we add in our walls just like we're supposed to, right there. Okay, and then we will activate our cheat, boolprop, constrained floor elevation false. Now we will connect the wall the way we are supposed to, and yes, it looks funky, but that is okay. Now we're going to grab just anything and pull it down and delete it. Now we're going to change our cheat, deactivate it. Oh, you got to type it right though. Right like that. Put our walls back on the way they are supposed to be. And I will be getting rid of that column that's right there. Activating the cheat again. And putting in the door. I think that one is the best. Make sure I'm on the right level, right there. Okay, and activate the cheat again. And call it good. So, funny aside, it's been a while since I've seen them put in this window, the Midnight Ride window, backwards. And it was like they've only placed this particular window twice in this build, and they took a 50-50 chance. One they did right and one they did not. Just saying. And so in keeping with the way I was designing the Veronaville houses, or I should say the Monty side of the Veronaville houses, I decided to go ahead and use the nightlife stucco just because it's better defined. It looks more luxurious. Carlos has a lot of money. He's got $180,000 to play with because the house was only worth about $53,000 and he had like $85,000. So we're not hurting for dollars. Okay, so with the roof, I needed to make a decision. So I'm going to go ahead. First, I have to eliminate these 3 windows. I Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Put that right back. Eliminate those 3 windows for the time being. And we're going to use the shed hipped roof. And I'm going to go around right here, 3 by 14. And I'm also going to go around this direction as well. 12 by 3, and I messed that up, so I've got to do that again, I think. Let me make sure I did it correctly. I need to be from this corner over. That's why, 13 by 13. 13 by 3, and now I'm going to do a shed roof all the way over this. There we go. And I will drop all of the roofs to 15 degrees. That way it creates the much more Mediterranean low roof. And I am going to do the long gabled for the upper story, and again drop it to 15 degrees. It just makes it look much more intentional, much more like a Mediterranean home that it's clearly meant to look like. Now, of course, we will create a basement, because you should know me by now that I'm definitely going to be creating a basement. Although I'm having a hard time, I need to back away just a little bit. And I can take it all the way to that front wall, because this front porch is actually foundational. So there's that. And since it's a nice level lot, we'll go ahead and start with 5 away from a corner. Is that 5 away? That was only 4 away. Okay, there we go. 5 away from a corner. There we go. Hammer it out. And there's our basement. And of course we do want to put the ceiling tiles in again, starting with the one closest to the foundation. And there we go. And now I have to choose a floor plan. So of course I base all of the floor plan on the placement of stairs, and I am going to actually use the connecting stairs, not for any other reason other than I like the way these particular ones, the blonde ones, actually look. Although, you know what? I'm going to change my mind. We are not hurting for money, so we're going to use a different staircase, but I am going to use this as the guideline as to where I'm going to go with the staircase. There we go. Okay, so we'll just hammer that out, and now I am going to put in a good quality staircase. How about this one? Or, you know what? Let's go with the most expensive, because Carlos has a lot of money, so why not? He's worked hard. He deserves a good staircase. All right, so we're going to go ahead and choose our floor plan for the lower floor. And this will be the kitchen right here. Right like that. Off the kitchen is going to be a bathroom and a pantry of sorts. And now from the front entryway, as a matter of fact, I'm going to use a half wall there, so I'm not going to define it at this exact moment. From the front entryway, we have a little study where Carlos can study his opponents as is still, you know, probably coaching and things. I mean, he's a Hall of Famer. Little coat closet. So this is his study right there. And we'll put that wall in for the time being. And this right here is going to be a pretty large dining room. And this is going to be a very significant front entryway. So then we're going to go upstairs. And here we have one 4x5 bedroom. Right like that. Oh, that's 4x4. Hey, put that back. 4x5, right like that. And a 6x5 right there. That will be the master bedroom. And now follow along with me right here. This is going to be a walk-through closet, and then the bathroom. Then there's going to be another 4x5 bedroom here, and a Jack and Jill, but the Jack and Jill will also have a closet that goes to this room, and this closet will go to this room, and they walk through to get here. Now, I could either just get rid of these walls or use doors or archways. Of course, I will have to exit to the neighborhood to make them work, but they do work. Now we're just going to go ahead and go down. Oh, there we go. Sorry. Make sure it went exactly where it wanted to be. And I'm actually going to decide if I want a half wall here or a full wall. That remains to be seen. And now let's go ahead and add my textures. Now from the neighborhood, it's actually about the same as it was before I started redesigning. So that's pretty good, although I do have to put the fence in because I did take that out. But for the most part, I actually retained approximately the same value. So now I've got preliminary textures on, and I'll show you what we've got so far. Overall, I am going to try to keep this build very light because the light wood just kind of lends itself to that. And this is what I have so far. We will go ahead and eliminate that railing right there. Not that, sorry, my bad. Stairs, railing, hold the control and get rid of that. And I haven't exactly figured out the floor plan for the basement yet, but there will be some decided use because of course that is where we're going to have the gym. So I am going to now decorate it and I will be back. Of course, I always start with kitchens and baths, so let's do a bathroom. All three bathrooms will be done basically the same. Since Carlos is clearly meant to be of Hispanic origins, I really felt like the mission is where I'm going to go with furnishing most of the house. And so we've got a vanity and a lovely sink and the matching mirror and a beautiful marble toilet. On this side, I created the walk-in shower. So there it is, the marble bathtub, a shower curtain, and a window curtain to match. So after I finish the bathrooms, I like to outfit the kitchen. I've got a floating shelf there, the refrigerator, then we have our stove, fire alarm, hood, and now I'll put in all of my counters, including a few island counters. Next we'll put in the sink, the trash compactor, dishwasher, food processor, and now we'll put in our chairs for the counters. Next, we're going to start with the softwares, the chef's mat, the curtains, and now let's put some clutter in. And that is our kitchen. So next it's time to do the dining room. Now this is a very long room. I'm not going to use the whole thing for dining. This portion is kind of an extension of the hallway, but it just gives it a better dimensions by having this broken up a little bit. So let's go ahead and furnish the dining room, starting with a lovely rug. And I am not one for always sticking within a collection, but I feel like Carlos really does like the mission aesthetic. So we're going to use basically everything from it, but that's not all we're going to use. So we've got the dining table and seating for 6. Now I do like to use a dresser as a sideboard, as I've shown you before, and we're going to go ahead and put the bar here facing this way. We don't always have to have the bar out ready to be seated. It just needs to be functional. And so now let's add some curtains in all the way around on both the doorways as well as the windows. nice large piece of art, the mirror above the sideboard, some floral, and a little piece of a ship in a bottle. And let's go ahead and put that little guy at an angle because it looks better if we put it at an angle. Come on, get on there. Right like that. Now on to the formal living room. We're going to start with a nice rug and flank it with 2 sofas to create a conversational area. And then over here, we're going to have our chess table. Then we have our arts area. And now we will put in the softwares all the way around, add some art and a little bouquet. Now for his tiny den, we have a couple of bookshelves, and I added the floating shelves to create the look of them being built in like I did in Natasha Una's house, and a comfy couch, a TV so he can watch his opponents and study their moves, a gaming system for when he's finished that, a cozy rug, and a sporty photo. So although I have never used this bed, I figured it struck me that it does belong to Carlos, so let's keep it there. Add a couple end tables. Over here we will have the lower version of the expensive dresser and a little sitting area for Carlos, and we're going to flank everything with a custom content recolor of the fancy curtains, and then we'll add a mirror above the dresser, an art piece above the bed, and a couple little pieces of clutter on the dresser. Okay, so it's time for the reveal. Now, Carlos is a retired Hall of Famer, and he had over $80,000 in his bank account, and the house certainly didn't look like the home of somebody who was rich and famous. So I think we definitely moved significantly in that direction. It looks like a very pricey Southern California type home, or it would also fit very nicely in Veronaville. So I did replace the front arcades that were there with windows and this double door. So this is officially the front door now. And as we enter, we are presented with a very warm and inviting entryway. Now, apartment life is when we were given the ability to add textures to ceilings. It's actually when we got ceilings, I should say. And so that's very exciting. I did put a nice warm burnt umber linoleum on the ceiling. The floor is actually from Life Stories. Now as we go to the right, we enter our very formal sitting area. And again, a nicely textured ceiling. The texture that was up there was actually a gold carpet, and you're kind of wondering, Carlos, what noise were you wanting to cover? I'm just saying. Okay, so this, of course, is the dining room. Very warm and airy, and as I mentioned earlier, this area down here that's basically empty is mostly an extension of the entrance hall. And from the dining room, of course, we can go out onto the back patio where we have a swimming pool and some Adirondack lawn chairs. For the most part, I didn't make any changes out here other than repositioning where the diving board and ladder were. Okay, and then through here, we have our kitchen with the breakfast bar in it. Lots of nice clutter to make it look like a really lived-in kitchen. And a lot of ambient light throughout the home. And then there is a full bath off of the kitchen with a bathtub as well as the walk-in shower. And just past that would be a utility room. There is actually nothing in there. But I did continue having a coordinating ceiling. And then heading back out from the bathroom, we go back through the kitchen and into Carlos's den, where he watches film of other players, stuff he needs to have as a coach. And then through here, we have access to the garage. And there is a coat closet. So I don't actually have a dresser inside the entranceway like I normally would. Now from here, we can go upstairs. And the door directly in front of us when we get to the landing is Carlos's bedroom. And it is done in the very romantic Gothic feel. Of course, I took my cue from the vibrating bed. I pulled in these recolors that I got when I was doing a Gothic Legacy. And even this particular swatch of the luxury artwork works very nicely. Again, coordinating the ceiling. I think Cassandra would like to sleep in this room because she is the gothiest goth to ever goth. Now through this little hallway on either side of us is a closet. So we've got the never-ending mirrors because of that. And then we have the master bath, which is identically appointed to the one that I did downstairs, just configured differently. Now heading out of Carlos's bedroom, there is bedroom number 2. These are basically appointed just to be comfortable. Of course, this is a family of 1, but there's no reason that a house this big should have only 1 bedroom. And besides, he might meet a sweet young thing who offers him a child. Or comes with a child, who knows? And down to this room, again, pretty much the same thing, only slightly different coloring. Otherwise, these 2 rooms are identically appointed. And the basement is his sports and workout area. We've got a nice boxing ring, which I actually looked up. This would be about the smallest acceptable boxing ring, so that's what I chose for Carlos. Figured he would want it. And area to get fit so he stays on top of his game. Remembers a really great bowling game that he had over here. Plays a little bit of darts, has some trophies and some football helmets. Plus there is a micro bathroom right there for him to shower off if he's getting sweaty. So let's put him in and see what he thinks. Okay, so Carlos has 180,272 and it came out at 174,815. So I definitely spent a lot of his money. Okay. What's the first thing he's going to check out? It's probably going to be a light bulb. Oh, actually, a dartboard. That's cool. Why don't you use the bathroom, please? Wonderful. Why don't you actually play some SSX? All right. Wonderful. And why don't you read a book? Perfect. Tickle those ivories. Oh, what child is this? Or green sleeves. Thank you, Mr. Humble. Oh, he's actually quite decent. I love that. I'm going to listen to that for a minute. It's one of my favorite songs. Christmas Carol. I mean, oh my gosh, I feel peaceful. I love listening to them as their skill increases. Why don't you open that gift? And how about greet LaShawn with a fake out? All right, and greet him with a high five. And oh, right now? No, but thank you. All right, high five, and then a kiss, kiss, darling for Denise. All right, and we're not going to greet the dog because otherwise the dog will come in. Unfortunately, I can't put the punching bag on the dais because it shows up through the floor right here, so that's unfortunate. You know what? He and Denise have some chemistry, and she seems to be taking it. All right, I love that. Why don't you play Kicky Bag? You want to play Kicky Bag? There we go, sports. That's great. I think this might be a great home for our aging Casanova. So, like I said, tell me if you want me to redesign the entire apartment building or just an individual apartment. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you soon in the pixelated world. And that's all I have to say. VK out.